My name is Evan Martin, and this is my brother Emmett Martin.
Hello.
And today we're going to be breaking down one of the fight scenes we did in our recent iMovie Skittles into Tournament on 6M Entertainment. We're going to be starting a series where we break down these scenes, and in this one, we're going to be breaking down the fight scene that Emmett was in. It's just one little clip, but there's a lot we can learn from it, and it's where he's performing a armbar in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So we're going to be going through that, how to perform it, how to set it up, maybe even how to escape it in certain situations. And so keep watching and we'll get into that. So this is the position that Emmett was in the fight scene. This is one of the many positions for an armbar. So Emmett has control of my hand, and he has my thumb pointed up towards the sky so that my elbow joint is actually facing down. He has his leg over my head so that if I tried to sit up, it's very difficult for me, and he's got his other leg over my chest, so also make it hard to stand up and difficult for me to reach over and grab my arm if I were trying to save myself. So, a very dangerous position and one of the most effective submissions in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. To actually finish the submission and get the tap, all Emmett has to do is slowly bridge up with his hips, which would hyperextend my elbow, and if I don't tap him twice and he doesn't stop, then that would end up breaking my arm. Now, in the actual fight scene, we don't actually see how Emmett gets the position. So what we're going to do next is some setups of how Emmett could have actually gotten to the armbar position, so you can actually use that practically. So, the fight would have started standing up. Since Emmett would have been fighting a bigger guy, he's got to use some way to turn the fight to his advantage so that he can use the armbar. So first, he's got to take this big guy to the ground. So when the fight would start, we don't know what takedown he would have opened up with, but one classic one would be the double leg takedown that you'll see a lot in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So if he opens up with a double leg takedown, he goes in here, he shoots in, he has his head high so that I can't go and choke him from here, and he has his arms wrapped around my knees. From here, he's going to push me down with his shoulders and his upper body so that I hit the ground. Now, he lands in my guard. What an experienced jiu-jitsu practitioner would do is they would wrap their opponent up so he can't keep moving. Odds are, though, the person Emmett was fighting in that movie wasn't a very experienced person, so they probably would have had their legs open. So Emmett can go to pass the guard by pushing the knee down, cutting through, proceeding into the mount position. This is a very advantageous position for Emmett because from here, he can punch me, he can elbow me, he can do whatever he wants, and it's really hard for me to do anything, even if I'm bigger than him. So, jiu-jitsu players like to establish their control like this, so there's a lot of pressure on me here. Oftentimes, what inexperienced people will do is they'll try to just bench press their opponent up. This is a great opportunity for an armbar. So from here, one of the setups is you can put one hand over, and then one hand under, and from here, you're attacking this arm. Then he's going to switch into what's called an S-mount, where he has his knee almost as a pillow by my head, and his foot pointing upwards in a kind of awkward position, but most BJJ practitioners are comfortable in that position. He's going to put his weight onto his thigh to swing this leg around, getting into a nice tight armbar. So tight that it's on my neck, and it's making my voice sound weird. So, if you're practicing this with a partner, you want to try to sit up so that they can test their pressure and reach. And then from here, he makes sure my thumb is pointed up, so he's actually going to be hyperextending my elbow. And then from here, he'll start to apply pressure. And that is how you perform a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu armbar. Thank you so much for watching. That is how to perform a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu armbar, or one of the many ways to perform a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu armbar, and one of the setups for it. So that was one of our little clips from our iMovie, from some of our fight scenes. Please go check out our iMovie if you haven't already. And we're hoping to break down some of those future fight scenes and go over those so that you know what martial arts are being used, how to perform those techniques, maybe what certain people could have done better in those fight situations. And yeah, thank you so much. Emmett, is there anything you wanted to go over?
Yeah, when I went for the shoot for the double leg, my knee, when I went for the shoot, my knee didn't hit the ground. I went lightly. Only my foot slided.
So Emmett actually brings up a good point. So whenever you're going for a double leg takedown, there are various different ways to do it. So Emmett, if you want to scoot back real quick. One of the ways is how Emmett did it, how he just kind of went in and grabbed. Another way, which is usually how you see it in wrestling, is they'll actually shoot. So they'll actually go in and they'll slide down and lock up and go to the takedown from there. Now, you can come back up. There are a bunch of different ways to do that, and none of them are really wrong or right. It depends on what situation you're in. And so we might even go more in-depth on just takedowns in general and stuff. So that's a good point, Emmett. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and subscribe so you can see if we make some more of our videos.